Now, keep your texts and your comments coming in. We're going to be talking to some more Leaving Cert students and some teachers in a minute, including Sarla, who wrote a letter to Leo Varadkar. Some texts first. Jerry says, some of the people working in the meat factory in Ferrybank are constantly psyching on the footpath, going to and from work. Even with the lights on, full in the face of people walking towards them, it can be very annoying. Damien, congratulations on a largely positive show, avoiding too much negativity at a time when we need cheer. Just an observation, is the Leaving Cert of 2020 not fundamentally flawed now? For example, so many studies in German, music and Irish, extra 25% for honours maths. Student B might not choose to study these subjects. And then is it not issues and major problems, says this texter. Another person is saying that the Leaving Cert is flawed. Another texter, Deise, has phoned into 051846 to say instead of the students sitting the Leaving Cert, would they not be an idea to use the pre-Leaving Cert results as they did just a month ago? A lot of students have said, no, that is not the way to do it. I think we've got Connor on the line. Good morning, Connor. How are you doing?
I'm good, Damien. How are you?
I'm good. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you go to school?
I go to Delphi College and I'm currently sixth year there.
Very good. And I think we also have Sarla on the line as well. Good morning, Sarla.
Morning.
Am I pronouncing it correctly, Sarla?
Yes.
Sarla Roger, thank you very much. Sarla, you wrote a letter. Where are you going to school yourself, Sarla?
I attend Yates College.
Yates College, okay. Just make sure that the line is okay, Sarla. Just want to make sure you're speaking into you're not on loudspeaker or anything. You wrote a letter to on Taoiseach Leo Varadkar. I have the letter here in front of me. In essence, what did you say? What's your thoughts on this matter at present, Sarla?
Well, like a lot of people my age, I think that they should have gone with predicted grades. But I do understand that it's a very complicated issue, and I think they have our best interest at heart ultimately. But I do think it would have been better to go with predicted grades. You know, that's what the majority of people wanted.
Okay, but then you have people that would have not studied very hard for the prees. I remember doing the Leaving Cert myself and I didn't really care about the prees. And some people plan to do it like a long marathon or an 800 metre race. They pick up the pace for the last 50 metres. What's your thoughts on it, Conor McCluskey? Are you shocked and outraged?
Yeah, like the way they handled the whole thing was kind of confusing, and like it made a lot of people annoyed because they kind of left us in the dark. But with the way that they went around with predicted grades is kind of not an option, I do agree somewhat. Like the Students' Union gave them the idea of doing a no detriment policy, which allows students to get their predicted grades but also sit the exams and try to get higher than their predicted grades, which kind of gives both parties what they want in a way, which kind of allows us students to like have a safety net but also push further for like the last part of the term of study.
Yeah, I had an email in from a parent who says that predictive grades don't work for a lot of people that don't work hard during the year but basically try to speed up their studies and their, I suppose, learning in the last few months leading up to exams. Sarla, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's certainly true, but the predicted grades, I think the model that most people are suggesting is not to look specifically at the mocks or only at the mocks, but rather to have the teachers look at the full year of work and really take it based off of that. And like Conor was saying, have a system in place where you could retake an exam that you feel you didn't do as well at. And I think obviously whatever happens, they'll have to maintain the bell curve of some people doing quite well and some people not doing as well in order to have the courses that are most in demand be filled and the other ones filled as well. So I think, predicted grades, they would take work, but I think they would be really, they would work ultimately.
Conor, how do you think and how are you facing the prospect of having to study, like we're now 2 months, 8 weeks from this week from the original start of the Leaving Cert. So you're looking at studying for the rest of April, all of May, all of June, more than likely all of July, and maybe some of August as well. How's that facing you?
It's kind of hard really because like from my family, my older brother, he's 24 clear autistic, and I'm sure there's other families out there that have people like that in their homes and younger siblings that are going to be off for summer, which is going to really cause a bit of noise and upset in the house for students trying to study, as well as the fact that homes aren't really there for students to study. That's what schools are in place for, which can also be really hard for students as well, as along with the distractions around them in the house.
Okay, Conor, I'm going to let you go because I want to try and get Deise Ring on, the principal of Blackwater Community School. Conor McCluskey, you mind yourself and take care, okay?
No worries.
Sarah, you stay on the line there if you don't mind. Sarah, did you receive a response back from the Taoiseach? Not yet, I presume, no?
No.
What about the idea?
I'll keep trying.
You'll keep trying, yeah. No, fair play to you. And again, part of the letter was tongue-in-cheek. We demand that you, Mr Varadkar, take an all-extended, all-expenses-paid holiday to Majorca as soon as this is all over. You've earned it. Do you think students are appreciative of the efforts that the government are making?
I think at the moment there's sort of a general feeling of dissatisfaction. People are more upset. I think the in particular, the stress is quite palatable, and that's manifesting in quite an angry way. A lot of my friends are very upset about the decision, and I would say there's very little sympathy at the moment.
And what about the prospect of you having to study now for the next 4 months? How does that grab you?
Well, it's certainly preferable to having them in June, which I think, I suspect was their preferred option, but it's certainly going to change things. And I think a lot of people are going to get different results from what they would have gotten before.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Stay on the line there, Sarah Roger, if you don't mind, please, because I think Deise Ring is on the line. Good morning, Deise.
Good morning, Damien. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hope you're keeping well, and everybody in Lismore and West Waterford. You're the principal of Blackwater Community School. Thank you very much for joining us. You've just under 800 students, approximately 130 due to sit the Leaving Cert this year. We've been listening to students this morning, and again, I'm not looking for official sort of views from yourself, Deise, or anything like that. It's just your own personal thoughts on the matter. What do you think of the idea of postponing the Leaving Cert?
Well, I think, to be perfectly honest with you, the department seemed to be between a rock and a hard place as to what to do. We were all looking for clarification as to what was happening, and I suppose on a weekly basis, every one of us was trying to make contact with the department through our management bodies or whatever avenue we could access to find out, to get some definition as to what was going on. And I can understand the frustration from the department's perspective, and eventually I think they came up with the idea that, look, they wanted to provide a time scale for the students and so on as to what would happen. And late July, early August, it seems to be that, obviously, at the moment, and that's what we are provided with.
Yeah, but you know your students very well, Deise, and you know also, we've got issues such as broadband coverage as well in certain areas that may not be good. And just had a text in there from a person on the WhatsApp 083 333 975. My daughter is doing the Leaving Cert. She's under so much pressure. Teachers are supposed to do online teaching. Not all of them are doing it. She's up in a heap. She's so upset. She's emailed Joe McHugh personally about her personal experience. She's emailed him 3 times and heard nothing back. She understands that he's busy. But the students should come first in this. Would it not be a case to say, let's give them an amnesty. Let's work out some way of saying some sort of a system that we're able to not have them stressed out and studying all over the summer. They're stressed out as they are, aren't they?
I agree with you. Yeah, I've been in contact with a lot of parents and spoke to a number of students during this time. And look, to be perfectly honest with you, if any one of us had a son or daughter in that situation at this particular time, it's horrific what they're going through. It's very difficult for them and very difficult for them to cope with. And I think they need a lot of support from home and from school to get their heads around the whole concept of it. There are difficulties, like, for example, accessing some students due to broadband. There are difficulties in the sense that you can't beat the face-to-face contact or the camaraderie of being in a classroom with other students. It's very hard to replace all of that. Now, obviously, what we're trying to do is online teaching. Many of them classes have been using Zoom or Teams to have direct face-to-face contact and so on. And I know all schools are going above and beyond the call of duty and trying to resource their students or accommodate them in the best way possible. But like you said, it can be difficult.
And then
if you are a particular student who is isolated and have broadband issues and so on, or if you're removed from an environment whereby you're being supported, and maybe there mightn't be as much support at home as there might be in our homes. Some students are further discriminated against.
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, again, Sarah, you don't have to mention any students. I've Sarah Roger on the line. She's in Yates College, Dennis. And Sarah, some teachers would be better than other teachers at teaching, and also some teachers would be better than other teachers at keeping in touch with you online. Do you find that frustrating, that there is a disparity there?
Yeah, I think definitely face-to-face contact is the best way to learn. Not for everyone, but I think for the majority of students. And, you know, there are obviously teachers that are less technically apt with the computers and that sort of thing. But I think at the end of the day, most of them are trying their best, and we're trying our best as well. And we're all just trying to get through it together, you know. Yeah,
and then you have some people will say, come on, students have to get into, you know, there's people a lot worse off, and people are just a text in from somebody, the government's doing their best, students should think more about the general picture. But as I said earlier, Sarah, this is considered the most important exam of your life, and this is the thing that you've been working for the last 5-6 years in particular, maybe 7 years. So how do you respond to criticism such as that?
Well, I think that, me and my friends have a joke between us that even if there was only one 60-year student left alive, the department would insist on the Leaving Cert going ahead. You know, it's so ingrained in Irish culture, and it's such a huge part of our lives. And I would say that the people who seem to have the strongest opinions on what should be done about the Leaving Cert are people who aren't doing the Leaving Cert, and that's,
yes,
you know, something that stands out very particular. There's a lot of mummies and daddies on Facebook going on about how, especially when the orals were cancelled and everyone was given 100%, there's so many parents on Facebook sort of saying, oh, well, my Sinead or my Tom is going to get the same results as someone who didn't work as hard. And I think those people are vastly overestimating their child's abilities. But, you know, I think that at the end of the day, we're the ones who have to do it. So, you know, while everyone's opinion is valid, I think the 6 years at the end of the day, you know, we're doing it and we have to have an input into the decision.
Yes. Sarah, I'm going to let you go. Dennis, stay on the line. Sarah, I'm going to let you go because the phone line is not brilliant. Sarah, Roger, you mind yourself and keep in touch, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Mind yourself. Dennis, on those points, would it be possible to have the Leaving Cert in, like the schools are empty, right? Would it be possible to have the Leaving Cert in the big hall, have 40, 50 students there, have another 40, 50 in another classroom, or 20, or break it up in such a way? Is it possible to think imaginatively about this and to do it in such a way that you can minimise these stress levels? Or is that just not possible?
And are you suggesting that to retain the existing times?
No. It's obviously June is out. But if you were looking at like health comes first, and that's the important thing, and we know that, and health has to come first. So obviously the government is being guided by the health, and so many people are saying that, and by the advice they're being given. So do you see any other potential solution to this apart from what the government is suggesting? And also, are your teachers are you willing to work over the summer?
I am. Well, I suppose, you know, in a management role, you're kind of you're available all summer anyway, to be honest with you, really, from the end point of the state exams to the week before the results come out generally. you'd be available the whole time. And to be honest, you're available all the time anyway. From a teacher's perspective, I can understand there's a lot of frustration there at the moment because there is uncertainty as to when teachers are meant to take a break or not. But the biggest, and that's not clarified. There are a lot of things to be clarified. There was a wonderful article yesterday by a student, and you've had very articulate students there, Sarah, Connor and Dara, this morning from Yates College, De La Salle and St. Augustine's. And that's the one thing you'd have to say. These students, without Leaving Cert or whatever, you can see how articulate this group, this generation are going forward. But this particular student, Adam Johnson, had, I think, 27 or 28 questions yesterday in the Irish Times in an article. And to be honest with you, each one of them, I was looking at them, and they are all questions I would ask myself of the department, even at the moment, you know.
Yes.
But you are looking, I think at the moment, they are frantically trying to figure out the practicalities of doing this. In late July, early August, you will still have the issues of the students arriving as a large group in the morning before the exams. And if there are still social distance issues taking place, which there will be, I would imagine social distance will continue for quite some time. The logistics of even getting 130 teenagers to operate social distancing, isn't going to be that easy before exams and after exams.
Yeah,
the practicalities of, I would say, having 5 or 6 students in each room, or 20 in a large hall, or the social distancing in the centres would be practical. That wouldn't be a real issue. It's just congregating before and congregating afterwards.
Yes, are the issues. Yeah. And finally, sorry, Dennis, just briefly, if you don't mind, are you telling me then that if I was a teacher in your school, I will be working for June and July, even though it's not part of my contract?
They're problematic issues at the moment. The teacher unions at the moment are discussing this and trying to work something through, I think, with the department. It is, I think, there's so much uncertainty. Like, as I said, the student, Adam Johnson, yesterday identified 27 or 28 questions. I don't actually know the answers to any of those yet.
Yes.
So there's a lot of clarification required. From a teacher's perspective, first of all, the priority in all this is students, and we know that, and the mental health issues that really could arise from all of this and are already developing as a result of this are something that cannot be underestimated.
Correct.
So the students are the priority. From a teacher's perspective, I can also get it that there's a lack of clarity. The teachers, you wouldn't believe how hard teachers have been working during the lockdown, just prior to the Easter holidays.
Yeah.
We actually were holding staff meetings using Zoom just in that week before we broke up. We had a lot of different meetings with our student council and our parents' council and so on, which was great, and it's fantastic, and it's beneficial up to a point. But you couldn't be but impressed with the amount of work teachers were putting in and going above and beyond. And it's not perfect. It's very difficult for them, and it's new. It's unknown territory. Nobody anticipated this. Nobody could adapt to this. And
of course,
I'm particularly proud of the way teachers, I think all over the country, our own staff at Blackwater Community School, but throughout the country, have really, really taken this on to a dramatic level. And I suppose there is an element of frustration from their perspective now, having worked so hard and maybe not being fully acknowledged.
Okay,
as
Dennis.
As to how to work through the summer, they need clarification as to when they get their break as well, which is understandable.
Yeah, like we've had a big response to this. So what we might do, Dennis, is we might come back to you in the first week in June, please God, if we're all healthy and safe and well, and get an update on this. Listen, Dennis, to you and your staff and all your pupils and families, mind yourself and take care, okay?
Thanks, Damien, and it was a pleasure to listen to Sarah, Connor and Dara there as well.
Thank you, and we Deise on as well from the Ursuline. Thanks very much, Dennis Ring. Thank you very much. Good to talk to you. We will talk to you again. A lot of texts coming in about this. I'm going to get to some of those in a minute. People talking about not having access to the internet. Other Here's a good point from a parent in that one student has to look after other siblings, finding it hard to study because there are a lot of parents working on the front line and they're not able to do their work at home. So there's so many issues coming up about this. Keep your texts coming in. A text in: if in China, pupils can do their exams outdoors in football stadiums with proper social distancing, why not the RSC, Walsh Park, Fraher Field, WIT, Carriganore? Another: could we not give them marks based on their pre-results or continual assessments before anyone does anything stupid? And a lot of people texting in about walking on the roads. Next, we are going to hear from the parents of a young boy, a 5-year-old boy who has autism, and the difficulties associated with the lockdown. Now, the issue of students and exams is really exercising your fingers out there to get texting to 083 3333 975, text or WhatsApp, or you can call 051 846 123. Margaret from Tremore has phoned in to say the teachers who are getting fully paid should be available at the end of a phone line for their students to answer any subject related to questions, as well as providing online teaching. If they're not doing so, they shouldn't be paid and just get the welfare payment. Damien: I feel so sorry for the Leaving Cert students. They all have their work done, most of them. They're only repeating what they've done. It's the children in 5th year I feel really sorry for, as they haven't covered all their work. Good morning. My son is in 6th year doing the Leaving Cert whenever it's going to go ahead. He's dyslexic. He was granted a reader for his exams. He's worried that won't happen for him if they have to socially distance. And he's really struggling with his work at home. Good morning. I know the teens are frustrated, but guys, you're young enough to fight another day, says this person. And regarding walking, I'll come back to those in a few minutes. Now, if you have a son or daughter with autism, how difficult is it for you at present? Yesterday afternoon, I went up and spoke to Selena Deise and her husband, Andrew Power. They've just moved into a new house in Bracken Court. They've 2 lovely children, Layla May and Caden. Caden is 5 years of age and he's severely autistic, and went round the back, the side entrance, used my 2-metre microphone extender to do a socially distanced interview with them. Here's the interview with Selena, Andrew, and you'll hear a little bit of little Caden. So tell us about that ice cream. What's nice about it? Is it lovely?
Ice cream.
And do you love ice cream?
Wow.
You have a lovely backyard here, Andrew.
Yeah, it's nice. It's grand, plenty of room for the child to play around. And
how important is a backyard and a bit of space for somebody like Caden?
It's crucial, really, because kids like Caden, they like to be out and about exploring, and they're almost, I suppose, in many respects in their own little world. So it's great to be able to give them the opportunity to kind of go out a back garden and explore, really. Yeah, that's it.
And who's going to cut the grass? You or Selena?
That's Selena's job.
You're left to cut the grass, are you?
Always. Has to be done.
This is lovely. It's a nice enclosed area, so it's nice and safe for him.
It's lovely, yeah. He loves it now.
You just moved in?
That's exactly it. We're here a few weeks now, and it's a lovely area, a lovely community. It's great to have a back garden as well for Caden, because with Caden's routine, Damien, he loves to do a lot of pacing. So Caden needs a fair big back garden so he can do a lot of pacing, and things are difficult at the moment. They're very challenging. We learn a lot of new things from day to day with Caden. His little sister, she's constantly out here with him as well.
What's your sister's name?
Enemy.
So without the madness, Damien, you'd be more like a holiday. So look, I won't complain.
How's it been? How difficult has it been? Or what changes have you had to try to talk to him about? And yet it's so difficult for him to understand it.
Yeah, he finds it very hard to understand, especially with what's going on, Damien, myself at the moment, I'm self-isolating because I'm on immune support medication, so I can't really leave the house. I have to stay in. But it is very difficult for Caden to kind of understand. Lately we have the telly on and we've the news on, and Caden, he can kind of sense there's something not right. He's just he's watching the news, he's listening to the radio, and he's coming to me for cuddles, because he do know, he in his own little sense of humour, he do know that things aren't right, which is very hard. Caden, he likes to go on a lot of walks every day. It's a day where you have to get out and about, you have to explore. From school with the routine as well, he's finding it very difficult. The school are fantastic, Scholar Con, they're so supportive with the work they're sending out to us. He's SNA Elaine Power, we want to give her a big shout out, she's fantastic. They're FaceTiming every evening. His grandparents, his nanny Elma and his granddad Johnny, he's lost without him, Damien. It's heartbreaking for the grandparents, you know. They're FaceTiming him up to nearly 50 times a day. There's no end to it. They get very emotional, he gets very emotional. That's where the meltdown starts. You know, he's trying to get out the garden, he's trying to get out the windows and the doors, the house is turned upside down. So we have to get on the phone to someone straight away just for the relaxation, for just to give us a little bit of help with him. And all of a sudden then we're in the middle of bingo loco, as you can say. The blinds are shut, we're locked in, the music is pumping. You know, he could have the headphones on and we're up in the bed and we're bouncing up and down, and it's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, so, you know, it is difficult. It's very hard these times, you know.
It's stressful for you as well, Andrew.
Look, it is, like, you know, and I suppose most people are in the same boat, you know. And this changes everything, really, you know. You can't really go out that often, you can. I suppose your friends are a phone call away, so you can stay in touch, alright, but, like, it's not the same, like, you know. And I suppose the kids too, cocoon, run around, it can be challenging, but like so much positive is going to come out of this, you know, and this is all over. As a community, like really people look out for each other a little bit more, I think, as a result of this, and hopefully that will continue, you know.
So, and I'm lucky as well, Damien. I have a very supportive family. My mum and my dad and my sister. I'd be lost only for her, Clodagh. She, you know, she's keeping everything going for me. She's keeping everything together. And for my parents here, concooning at the moment, as I often say, they're canoeing around the kitchen down. They're probably killing one another. But sure, look,
say hello to them first.
A big hello to my mum and dad. I'd be lost without them, Elma and Johnny, Deise and Kilcohen. You know, it's just, I just can't wait, Amy, for a holiday. I just can't wait to hand the kids over and do a runner.
Tell us a little bit about your own situation.
So I find it very difficult, Amy, and I seem to be in a rut where I'm getting up every day and I'm doing the same thing over and over again. It's just, I just feel like I would get emotional myself because I can't do the things I used to do. Like, I'm at work at the moment and, you know, I miss all the lads and we'd have great crack, but it's just, you know, I'm just stuck in a rut myself, and I just kind of, the kids are keeping me going, and every day is a different day, like I'm saying, and only for the kids and Caden, you know, to try new things and do different things. It is challenging, but sure, it's fantastic.
Do you worry? Like, do you go to bed and go to sleep and think about the next day and think about the problems?
There's no sleep at all, Damien, because with Caden, he could stay awake all night. He could wake at 2 and he could be up till 6, and, you know, you just kind of have to go with the flow with Caden because with everything going on, he knows things aren't right. My sleep routine, it's totally, it's just totally out of sorts, and, you know, we just have to get on with it. Everyone is in the same boat, and, you know, it's going to be like this for a while.
Is there anything you would need? Is there anything more people could do for you?
Damien, with Caden's psychologist, another great man himself, Tom Bender, he's on the phone to us and he's doing his utmost best to try and, you know, give us supports and just basically, you know, on a daily basis, if there's anything else we need, any other, you know, activities we need to know about for Caden to kind of keep him going. You know, he's great and he's there at the other end of the phone as well, and, you know, people are doing what they can do for us, and, you know, I'm very, very grateful. Yeah. But it's just for the kids and missing their grandparents, terrible, and, you know, we will see light at the end of the tunnel, I'm sure. And
Caden, do you want to say hello to Granny and Grandad? Come over here and say hello to Granny and Grandad.
Yeah.
Okay. You talk into that now and say your few little words.
And new Leia's room and new Caden's room, and
hi, Nanny and Grandad.
Hi, Nanny and Grandad. Hi, Ryan.
Love you lots.
Love you lots.
Love you lots.
I love you.
As hard as it is for us, Damien, you know, all the frontliners and their families, you know, with the situation they are in as well at the moment, we just want to give them a big shout out and thanks very much for everything, and, you know, to the Waterford Gardaí and, you know, the fire station, you know, they all have a lot in their hands, so we're very, very thankful and grateful for what they're doing for us and to keep us all safe at this time.
Hi, Nanny and Grandad. Hi, Ryan.
Love you lots.
Love you lots.
Love you lots.
I love you.
Little Caden there, 5-year-old Caden. Special hello to him and any young chap or girl that has autism that's out there at the minute. Some nice texts coming in. And it's very hard, says this texter. It's very hard. Babysitting my 2 grandchildren, says this other texter. I miss so many of my grandchildren, says another granny who has texted in. Special hello to Ryan and Zoe. And well done to Selena and to Andrew. And keep it going. Fair play to you. Why are teachers getting full pay? Why not 350 like the rest of us? Very unfair, says Marie. I agree with the last caller, says another texter. The teachers should not be paid full salary when not in school. All schools should be in school for the month of August. Thank you. And a texter, I'm allergic to the gloves and also I get very bad dermatitis. I have a problem going into shops and supermarkets. I can't or will not use any of the hand sanitisers. I wonder, would this person get a letter from the doctor? And other people texting in about the Leaving Cert. We're going to come back to the Leaving Cert matters tomorrow. Keep your texts and your calls coming in. 083 3333 975. Now, Neil Sands is going to be joining me in a minute to talk about the Ireland Call Initiative. Some texts first. Well done to Selena and Andrew, great speakers on autism. Another texter there, inspiring. Selena speaks so well and gives us a true insight into the life of a family with a child who has autism. People honestly don't understand or appreciate the daily struggles that some people go through. I'm extremely proud of Selena and the beautiful family. Love you lots, from Emma, Stephen and Annalise. And we look forward to seeing Caden on his daily walks as we walk our dog that he loves. Another texter, I don't know if this is a teacher. You're annoying me now. There are some teachers who actually work during the Easter holidays and well deserve their money. Keep your texts and comments coming in. We did have an important text in from Callure Bridge Nursing Home in view of the primetime documentary programme last night. Want to remind people, Waterford nursing homes remain COVID-free at present. The preparations and risk assessment carried out by management and staff are proving very successful. So that is good news. Neil, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. The Ireland Call Initiative, it's set up to raise funds and provide support for frontline workers with flights, accommodation and PPE. Tell me about it, please.
Yes, indeed. So thanks very much for having me. I'm very pleased to be able to share some of our progress. With the last couple of weeks, I think there's been a huge outpouring of support from the Irish public to our frontline, and we were kind of seeing this need to bolster the front line because so many of them are getting up off their couches and out of their homes every day to risk their lives for us. And, you know, I think very many of us want to be able to support them even though we have to stay at home. And our support was really going to come through these 3 modes that we would fly the heroes back to Ireland and support with flights and accommodation. So many of our frontline staff were stranded in New Zealand and Australia, Canada, the US, other places, and needed logistical and financial support as flights were just cancelled over and over again. So we're very fortunate to be able to have helped with the kind donations of the public.
Yes.
Then once they get here, the next step is really that they need accommodation. And so everyone heading to the front line from abroad needs 14 days isolated accommodation. And so so many folks, just dozens every hour, are coming forward with their own accommodation across the country. They log on to answerirelandscall.com. They say what accommodation they have and how long it's available for. And we match that up with a member of our frontline who needs that isolated accommodation. And then finally, the PPE situation. Obviously, everyone's so aware of that across the country. It seems to be particularly dire in our nursing homes, for example, but also frontliners in our Gardaí and our armed forces and others also need this type of support. And so we're focusing on finding strategic PPE like hand sanitizer, for example, that can be used at nursing homes to ensure that there's a sanitary environment inside these facilities. And that's the remit of our effort so far.
And it's Ireland, it's Answer Ireland's Call, all one word, is it?
Correct.
AnswerIrelandsCall.ie. Neil, I'm afraid... .com. AnswerIrelandsCall.com. No, very good. And I know there's links through it on Facebook as well. Neil, I'm afraid the phone line is not great, so I'm going to have to let you go. Listen, we'll give it another plug later on and tomorrow as well,
no problem.
We might have you on in the next few weeks again. Is that okay?
Thank you kindly.
Not at all. Good to talk to you. Neil Sands there from the Ireland Call Initiative, and it's AnswerIrelandsCall.com. Some texts and calls coming in. Breda says the government, she phoned in to say the government should look at reinstating the free landline phone allowance for pensioners. They took it out of the household package allowances some years ago and feels now that is really important. John phoned in to say his daughter is due to do her Leaving Cert and thinks the whole situation has turned into a farce. How do they expect the students to answer questions on courses they haven't finished and be marked fairly? 2 weeks before the exam start is not long enough to have them back in school. It will just cause huge stress. The payment for exams is due at the end of the month. He just doesn't have the money to pay for it at the moment. And Deise phoned in to say the students sitting the Leaving Cert, would it not be an idea to use the pre-Leaving Cert results? Other people have said that. And Mary says the leader of the party in New Zealand is taking a pay cut. But in Ireland, some politicians are looking for extra money so that they can work from home. Surely they're receiving enough money already. And many more people texting in about the students. Keep your texts and your comments coming in. 083 333 975. Next, we are going to be talking to one of Waterford, and I would dare suggest one of Ireland's best runners, Frank Quinlan. Now, keep your texts and your comments coming in. Regarding walking on the footpaths, Damien, there's only one footpath where I live, and you have to walk on the road. I also go to the left, but the main thing is to walk single file. The general rule is walk facing oncoming traffic. That's what you can see. That's the way you can see what's happening on the road. Another person, groups of people not walking in single file is the main problem that I face on footpaths. You cannot walk through them, so you usually have to walk onto the road. Lovely interview with Selena and Caden and Andrew this morning. Sophie is Caden's number one cousin, and he wants to say a big, big hello and well done on the interview this morning. I think we trying to get Frank on the line. The line is quite busy at the minute and it's difficult, but I think we've got Tomás the Fuich on the line. Good morning, Tomás. Do you quit?
Hi, Damien. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. We spoke to you twice last week, the day before you were going to do your run, and then we spoke to you as you were jogging gently around the house. We want to just catch up with you this morning and ask you, how did you get on? You were to run 65 miles around your house last Friday for Cystic Fibrosis Ireland. Did you complete it?
I did, Damien, yeah, I did indeed. I started at 20 to 5 in the morning, and I think I finished just at about 10 past 6, so about 13 and a half hours in total. So got it done. Delighted now.
We were talking to you when you just had hit, I think, we're at 32 miles or something like that. How did you feel for the last couple of hours doing it?
Last couple of hours were, I suppose, they were tough, but when you know that there's the end is in sight, as they say, it makes it that bit easier. And like I said in my interviews last week, I'm doing the easy part. So no, I was fine afterwards. A bit sore on Saturday, but that's to be expected, I suppose.
And you were talking about staying hydrated and making sure that the calf muscles and everything. So you literally just did you get a burst near the end, or did you just sort of pace yourself as you went along?
I started off at an easy pace, but I always knew that as it progressed, that my pace would slacken off a bit. The deeper I got into it, I'm used to that from doing other races. But sure, I suppose, yeah, I was hydrating in the correct manner. I was taking gels on board and taking the proper food on. So if you don't have that right, your life will be a lot more difficult doing that kind of stuff. So, no, it worked out well. The body held up very well now, in fairness. I can't complain.
Excellent. Listen, I'll let you go to Tomás, and thank you so much. How much did you raise altogether, Tomás?
Yeah, Damien, I wanted to say that we went over the 13,000 there.
Wow.
Yesterday. So there's still money coming in, and I just want to thank everyone who donated again. All of this wouldn't be possible without you, and everyone who helped on the day. Just thanks a million, and that's from the bottom of my heart. Anything to raise a few funds for a charity like CF. So thanks again, and thanks to WLR, Damien, for carrying the story.
Not at all. It's our pleasure, Tomás, and well done. Listen, Ganari and all that, and we'll talk to you again soon, okay? God bless.
Gary Mila Mahagat, Damien.
Slán go fóill, Tomás the Fuich. Frank Quinlan, good morning.
Good morning, Damien. How are you?
I'm good. I know the phone line isn't great, so we'll have you on again next week. We wanted to give you a bit of publicity on this in the short time we've left. A lot of people would know you as an excellent runner and person who gets on very well with lots of other people in the profession. You're trying to fundraise for Pieta House and frontline workers. You're running 21 kilometres a day for 21 days. How are you going to do this, Frank?
Well, that's exactly it. I just decided when we were on lockdown for 21 days on Monday, I decided what could I do to kind of help and get through it myself as well as help others get through it. So I decided because of the 21 days and it was finishing on the 5th of May that I would run 21 kilometres, which is 3.1 miles, a full half marathon every day consecutively for 21 days.
13 miles a day, wow.
13.1 miles is exactly a half marathon, and there's a great 21 kilometres when you do it in kilometres. So basically, I did it for the first time yesterday to test the water and stay within the 2K zone. I want to stress that I am keeping within the 2K, but that you can actually run the perimeter of a circle, which is nearly 12.25 kilometres if you go north, south, east or west. So basically, that took me 8 miles from my house to Sanofi roundabout, to Bilberry, to the Mall, to the Quay, and I come back. I do a circular of my house, and then I do the other 4 or 5 miles within the area I live in Hillview, Griffiths Place, Kings Road, the back of Belvedere Manor. So the way I ran it yesterday, I decided I'll run it with the heart rate not going over 140 beats per minute, which means that would make me run comfortable or feel comfortable without going too fast. I have a wicked problem of running too fast. A lot of my running friends are always getting on to me about slow down. So this is the way of keep the heart rate down and running comfortably for longer, you know?
Yeah. No, it's really good. And as you say, you're keeping within the 2 kilometre radius. Listen, what we'll do, Frank, is the phone line's not great, so we'll come back to you again. I might even go out and meet you someday out there, and we'll do a little bit of a video with you and a bit more of an interview. We just wanted to give you publicity this morning to get the thing up and running.
Perfect,
and people can contact you on Facebook, can't they?
Yeah, I'm going to set up. Kieran O'Mahony, the Secretary of Waterford, came on board to help me to set up. It's an event page rather than a GoFundMe page. So I want to get the money directly to the local charities if local people are supporting me, you know. So I was conscious of making sure that I have the money to give to local charities rather than kind of going into a big pot in Dublin and the local people not benefiting from it, you know.
Yeah, no, very good. Listen, Frank Quinlan, you mind yourself, take care, good luck today with the next run, and we'll talk to you in the next week or so, okay?
Lovely. Thanks for the call. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Not at all. Frank Quinlan there, thank you, and apologies for the quality of the phone line there. Please say a special happy birthday to our dad, Eddie Aldridge in Ferrybank, from all the children, Louise, Tony, Katrina, Gary, Sarah, and grandchildren, great grandchildren. Well done and happy birthday. Now, this day in 1989, Hillsborough happened, one of the greatest disasters if not the greatest disaster in sporting history. 96 fatalities, 766 injuries, remains one of the worst disasters in the world regarding sports. So just as a little tribute, we're just going to play a little bit of You'll Never Walk Alone at the end of the programme here. I want to thank Julie for producing this morning. Thank you for all your texts and comments. Jeff is up next.